Hey everybody, welcome back to the Fertility Confidence Podcast. We are going to cover a question that I think is going to maybe make some light bulbs go off in your brain, hopefully, but I get this in my DMs quite a bit. And even when people first start out coming and working with us inside Fertility Confidence Method, and they say to me, Kelsey, I already live a really healthy lifestyle. Like, why isn't this working for me? And if this is you, if you're like, oh my God, yes, that is literally the thought I have every day. You know, I've done such a good job taking care of myself and I eat well, and I generally live a healthy life. Like, this shouldn't be hard. Know that first off, like, your frustration is valid. I think, even like scrolling through the episodes of the podcast and looking at the content that I post, it always does kind of point towards like, if you aren't doing X, Y, Z for your health, like you need to start doing that. And for some women, they're like, well, I already do that. Like I already watch what I eat and move my body. It's still not working. And so for those of you that feel like you're in this kind of place of living a healthy lifestyle already, why isn't this working? Like, what else can I do? I want you to know that it's just not that simple, right? Like, if you were to really get deep in the weeds around how a baby is made, it is truly mind-blowing that it happens as often as it does. And I mean that in a polite and kind way, because obviously you're listening to this because that's not the case for you. So many things need to line up absolutely perfectly in order for this to happen. And so there are pieces of this puzzle that unfortunately we have no control over. And I think that's the biggest lesson for women in general, for couples, especially for the couples that we work with inside FCM, because a lot of times we're attracting those women that, want all the control. And why? Because I want all the control. We're a good fit together, right? But the reality is we don't have control over everything. But there are things that we do have control over. And one of those mainly is how we treat and respect our bodies. But if you are in the realm of, I feel like I live healthy, what more can I do? I wanted to share some musings, if you will, with you around this concept. And the first one being that never in FCM history, so Nyla's 4.5, so 4 years in the online space, have I ever started working with a client and said, sorry, we actually can't help you. And that's because there is always room for improvement. There's always somewhere to optimize. And in my experience, and not just in the infertility space, but even when I was more so generally working with all of women's health, oftentimes our perception of healthy, air quotes, if you're listening to the podcast, if you're watching on YouTube, you can actually see me doing that awkwardly. Our perception of what is healthy isn't actually always healthy. And a lot of times we're coaching and counseling women through, okay, these are some really great decisions, and let's add this, let's tweak that, let's explore this concept together. And not just from a nutrition lens, although that does end up being a large portion of like the first 6 weeks that we work with clients is really just getting down to, we call it mastering the foundations, laying that foundational groundwork. And one of those things is in the nutrition world, but also with cycle syncing your life. And a lot of us, have a very basic understanding of our hormones and our menstrual cycle, depending on, there's certain levels of awareness in the fertility space. I feel some women really still, not even knowing when cycle day 1 is, and others that are like expert trackers, and then all variations in between. But most of you not all of you, because some of you have been exposed to this concept before, but most of you have a very basic understanding of your cycle, and we're not actually living within the cyclical rhythm. It's like our period happens to us, and that's how we view it, versus every day my hormones are adjusting, and every day I can adjust to live more in harmony with them. That is sort of the bare bones premise of cycle syncing. And the beautiful thing is that by learning to ebb and flow and live within our cyclical rhythm and within our hormones and adjusting our foundations based on where we're at in our cycle, we open up this door of furthering our fertility potential and being more comfortable in our skin and transitioning into menopause when the time comes easier, and having better hormonal balance and feeling more, not just in tune, but more ourselves in our lives, and being able to make better decisions for ourselves. And so this is why cycle syncing for fertility is such a big piece of what we start teaching our women now, because I think it really helps nail that foundational understanding. But it also opens up this door of relearning yourself. And the fertility experience, because it's so isolating, because it's so frustrating sometimes, because you feel like your body is broken, it's very common to just like, throw this wall up, and it's like me versus my body. And the reality is we need to have such a better relationship with our body in order for this to ever work. And the first step of that is really just relearning who she is. I truly, truly believe that. Maybe that sounds a little bit more woo-woo than what you're used to hearing from me, but it's true. But it's true. And yes, we can talk about the energetic side of things and the importance of that, but we're also looking at it from a very scientific hormonal lens. And the fact that we can meld the two together so beautifully, I think, is why it makes it so appealing, right? The second one that I really want you to consider is that we can't just look at you. This isn't about you. Fertility and getting pregnant and growing your family, it's a partnership experience, with the exception of, obviously, if you're using, I take that back. With the exception of like pregnancy single by choice. If you are a single woman and you are using a sperm donor and you don't have a partner, although I would say you should probably have a support system, so you still likely have someone in that partnership, whether it's your mom or your best friend or whoever that is. Regardless, it is a partnership. And I think we really need to value and understand that connection from the get-go. And you might, and if your partner doesn't yet, that's a conversation that we need to have. Because the reality is that sperm is 50% of the equation. And so you living healthy and him maybe not isn't going to be conducive to the goal that you have. You both living a nice, active, healthy lifestyle, amazing. Love that for you guys. You're going to live long, happy lives, hopefully. There's still more to it. And having some information, getting a semen analysis done, listen to the podcast episode, Understanding Your Partner's Semen Analysis, which I think is episode 53. And then a few episodes later, there's one that's called A Semen Analysis Isn't Enough. And I always send that to our clients when we're like, okay, numbers look good, now listen to this. Because it's not just count, motility, morphology look good. There's more to it than that. And we have the research to show us that your lifestyle and your nutrition doesn't just play a role in the ability to get pregnant, but it actually influences the health of your children, which is amazing. And we can make that same argument for women as well. And the really cool thing, is that if you have a daughter, your daughter's children's health is being influenced by you. Like, the epigenetic piece of this is vast. So it's not just about you. You leveling up your health and really taking care of yourself and really making sure that you're doing everything that you can within reason, because again, life is meant to be joyful. And that's a big philosophy for me. You're influencing the health of so many generations down the line, and that's a beautiful thing. When you're TTC, one of the big factors most women want to know is how to improve egg quality, right? It's the big question. One way we can support fertility outcomes is by improving egg cell health and mitochondrial health. And beyond nutrient, beyond lifestyle factors, adding some extra antioxidant support to your supplement routine can just be that little extra bonus for you on your fertility journey. Needed's egg quality support product combines research-based ingredients in a way that allows them to work synergistically together at therapeutic dose, which is so important. And it's recommended to combine their egg quality support product with the CoQ10 to ensure that you are still getting everything at the correct dosage, which I love. You can find both products over on their site at thisisneeded.com, and remember to use the code Dr. Kelsey to get 20% off your first order. So back to, it's not just you, okay? It's not just you, it's sperm as well, and sperm is coming from somewhere else. If you're using a sperm donor that you know and you have the ability to be like, yo, can you give me 3 months of preconception care? Awesome. And if you don't, you don't. That's okay. That's okay. But if you can make that influence, let's try to make it. And if you're struggling with getting him on board, I actually wrote a post about this on the weekend. I think it'll come out in the next week or so on Instagram. But our biggest philosophy right now is to lead by example and to really just understand that you can only control your actions. You cannot control anyone else's actions as much as we wish that we could. And so if getting testing done is a sticky point in your household right now, my biggest thing is like, first, he has no choice. Sorry, that's just the reality. But second, if he's just like not quite there yet, okay, fine. You're going to lead by example. You're going to keep doing you because you can control your actions, but you can't control his, and he'll come around eventually. But we can't let that dwell, okay? And men, if you're listening, if you're uncomfortable and you're like, I really don't want to do that, please get over yourself and just do it. Because the reality is, and I've had this happen in practice before, where I haven't pushed for a semen analysis. I worked for many months with women, finally got a semen analysis only to find out that we're dealing with severe male factor and we were focusing on the wrong person. And we wasted so much time and so much effort and so much money doing things that were probably only shifting the needle 1 point when we could have shifted the needle 10 points if we were focused in the right direction. So I really want you to think about that. And then the third one is that oftentimes when we're living these healthier lifestyles, we're still not looking at the body from a whole body lens. We're still not looking at fertility from a whole body lens. We get really hyper-focused on reading books like It Starts with the Egg, and we're really hyper-focused on our egg quality, really hyper-focused on like what our periods are telling us, and we're not necessarily looking at the bigger picture. And this is something that we really pride ourselves in, is like, what is the bigger picture here? And what does the research show us? So laying those foundations, mastering those foundations, looking at your whole body approach to nutrition, to moving your body, to sleeping appropriately, and to mastering your mind. And mindset's such a big piece. And if you are doing all of the things, but you're still not taking care of your mental, emotional health, if you're still struggling with believing that this is going to happen for you, if you're struggling with hope, if you're struggling with, feeling alone because you have no one to talk to, I don't want you to add any more supplements to your plan. I don't want you to make any more big grand tweaks in your, your nutrition. I really do want you to double down on the mindset work. I do believe that that is a really big piece that it can't just be the physical body. It has to be both. So we need to master those foundations. We need to consider things like EDC exposure and how does that impact not just you, but your partner as well, because we have research in both. We have really interesting research in BPA and phthalate and paraben exposure in men and women decreasing fertility. And yet we aren't talking in the fertility clinics about what do you use in your hair and your skin and how do you clean your home and do you have air fresheners? I'm not seeing any of those questions coming out of the clinics. And yet it's such a huge exposure in all of our lives when we don't walk down that road already. And, if you eat organic food because you read that's healthier, but you still have Glade plugins in every single room of the house, why bother? And the asterisk to this is for me, because I feel like that kind of contradicts what I always say, is that it's not an all or nothing approach. And it's not. We don't have to be perfect. But there's areas that are really small tweaks we can make that are just silly not to, in my opinion, based on the research. And that's one of them. Air fresheners, you guys, throw them out, okay? Essential oils work just as well. Get some diffusers. Much, much cleaner, so much better for you. You're going to have a lower cancer risk and you'll likely be actually improving your fertility and your hormone health. How cool is that? And you're going to, maybe not save money if you have to invest in some oils right off the bat, but a bottle of essential oils lasts significantly longer than one of those Glade or Febreze plugins. I guarantee you. I don't know that for sure, so don't quote me on it, but I bet you it does. We also need to think about your gut health, your circulation, the physical body and physical medicine side of things. There's so many different approaches. And I think this kind of circles us back up to point one, being that, even though you think you live really healthy, there's always room for improvement. And sometimes that comes from just having another opinion, right? You can only do so much in your own health. And I mean that from a place of complete understanding. And as a naturopathic doctor, I am my own worst patient, right? I know, and it took me many years to understand the limits at which I can support myself and my family, which is why I have a care team, which is why I've actually had my own naturopathic doctors over the years, and so have the kids, because sometimes, you can't just do it all yourself. Even if you have the knowledge, you still need someone else's opinion. And for me, it's about taking that pressure and weight off my shoulders. I already carry a lot of balls. I already have a lot of things on my plate. What I can offload to an expert that I trust, it relieves so much stress and pressure off of myself. It's unbelievable. It's priceless to me. Truly, truly. So where I can get support for certain things, there's no question in my mind that it's worth it to me, because at the end of the day, it's relieving the stress and pressure off of myself. And that's the number one benefit we hear from our clients the first few weeks into FCM is, God, I wish I found you sooner, because now I just don't have to think about it so much, right? And that's really important and really beautiful. All that to say, I want you to understand that if you're really in the thick of that lack of understanding of where do I go from here, know that there is always room for optimization. It might be a conversation you have to have with your partner. And there might be a piece of your puzzle that isn't as outward to you to notice, but that somebody else can put the pieces of the puzzle together for you. You don't have to do that on your own. I hope this was helpful for you guys. Have a beautiful rest of your day. Thank you so much for hitting play. You all have made the Fertility Confidence podcast so wildly popular this year in 2023. It literally blows my mind. So thank you so much. If you haven't already taken a moment to write a review and to rate, it would mean the world to me. It helps the internet gods send this podcast to show people who are in the same shoes as you that need support. So the more that the universe sees the stars and the reviews, the more that it'll actually show our lessons and our teachings to couples who are searching for fertility support as well. So if you've already done that, thank you so much. You have no idea how much that means to me that you listen every week. This has been a wonderful, wonderful year. We've got 2 more episodes coming out for you. One very special one, our 100th episode coming out in a couple of weeks. You're not going to want to miss it. So if you haven't already subscribed, do that so you don't get any, you don't miss out on that. And then the other thing that I want you to do before we finish up here is I have a really special top secret for now bundle that's going to be launching at the end of the month. I'm going to put it on a really, really insane sale for my birthday. It's going to be awesome. But I'm going to be doing that to a special sneak peek list. When I announce the sneak peek list, you're going to want to be on it, okay? Especially if this conversation resonated with you today. And only people on the sneak peek list are going to get the super special birthday discount. So, excuse me, the list isn't ready yet, but it's going to be ready really, really soon. So if you aren't already following me on Instagram at Fertility Confidence Method, I highly recommend going over there, clicking follow so that you don't miss when I announce not just the bundle, but the sneak peek list, so that you can get your hands on it and we can have a fun time working together in 2024. So you're going to rate, review. There's a lot of homework for you guys today. A lot of homework that I appreciate so, so much. Come find me on Instagram at Fertility Confidence Method, and I will see you guys all in the next one.